What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for an opposition preview. It's a massive game this weekend. Chelsea away in the second game of the season. We've got my brother, but more importantly, we got Louis Beneventi here, back on the channel. Back on the channel for a long time. You haven't been on here for a long time, so welcome back.
Thank you very much. I've just been described as, what was it? Do you want to say it again?
I said it was like when Pep Guardiola took a sabbatical for a year. This is a return on Louis Beneventi.
That is the best thing I've heard all week, and I'll take it. It's fantastic. So thank you very much.
Good to have you back, Louis.
Oh, thank you. See, because of Pep Guardiola, you just, you know.
I did call you more important than him.
That's true. But it was good.
I take that one back. I take that one back. To be fair, I mean, no Chelsea fan is anywhere more important than Tottenham fan.
You might have noticed something different though about our hair.
Yeah, if you want a haircut, you know where to go. You know where to go.
Yeah, so we did.
This is the guy.
It was fun. We did a nice little preview over on my new channel because I decided to start again because the amount of times I've gone, I'm back, and then not doing the right thing. We're now doing content again. It's good to be doing it.
This is what, the third coming or the fourth coming of Louis Beneventi?
That's what she said. No, you know, but yeah, no, it's good to be back making videos, and yeah, we just had a trim, had a conversation. It was fun, enjoyed it, so head across.
Alright, so we'll get into the game in a minute, but let's start off talking a bit about Chelsea, because Thomas Tuchel came in, won the Champions League in his first season, coming in halfway through the season. It looked like you were going to go on a title charge maybe the next season. Hasn't really kind of worked out for Thomas and Chelsea. What's happened there?
Look, I think there's a lot of different things and a lot of variables that have probably just seen us not quite get there. For me, I wasn't expecting the title charge last season. I think for me, I was looking at, obviously when Frank Lampard was there was the players still need a little bit of work, a lot of young players, and a lot of development was still needed. Tuchel did what he did in winning the Champions League by just finding the best system which suited the players that we had, and obviously kept them going however he did, which is fantastic. And then obviously he was given that summer window. We were chasing Lukaku, had a lot of outgoings. Obviously hindsight is a beautiful thing. At the time it looked like we had a pretty decent window, and then there were just a couple of things that were missing, obviously pieces that weren't going to come together straight away. People then thought obviously January maybe pick up some players, and then obviously everything happened with Russia and Ukraine, and obviously had a knock-on effect with Chelsea, and there was a lot of stuff going on which people had to deal with, and it did take a lot of, you know, the wind out of Chelsea's sails. From a footballing standpoint though, I think a big miss for us was sort of November onwards. You lost Ben Chilwell and Reece James for an extended period, which kind of meant we lost that dynamism on the wings and the full-back positions, which was a big thing for us. And you know, it just didn't quite work out. But you know, third place, an FA Cup final. Obviously, you know, it's good to reach those things. Losing 3 FA Cup finals on the bounce isn't good, because it feels, sorry to say it, boys, a bit Spursy. You know, it's 3 finals on the bounce we've bottled. So
if you lose another Chelsea FA Cup final, we might have to change the name to Chelseaism or something like that.
I don't know. Let's hope that doesn't happen, shall we? But you know, I think, look, we got into a pretty solid position. The Real Madrid game, I think, proved that Chelsea still have a bit of impetus about them, a bit of oomph, should we say. You know, obviously we lost the fixture overall, but there's no doubt that we really showed what we're capable of. But you know, I think right now it's a new era, it's a fresh start. I'm not expecting anything this year, really. I'm kind of just wanting Todd Bowley set himself that benchmark of what Chelsea is, and then how to progress and get back to where we were under, you know, those periods under Brian Bramwich where, you know, we were a real force. But look, it's a whole new way of doing things, and it's going to take time. It's not going to be exactly the same.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, as you say, you've started that new era now. Roman's left. We know all the money that came with Roman and all the trophies you won under him. You've now got Todd Bowley. How would you describe how your summer's gone with the new ownership? And do you see a plan going forward for this season?
I think he's trying to put things in place. So, beginning of the summer, you had Marino Granovskaya leave, Bruce Buck's gone, and Petr Cech. So the whole structure disappeared. So what he's done there is he's got his feet under the desk and gone, let's try and figure out the situation and move forward as quickly as possible, because he didn't want to hang about looking for a sporting director. He's done all right, I think, is a key word. I think we've got in some big players. We have missed out on a lot of targets. Look, Jules Koundé, whatever happened there, whether it was Thomas Tuchel saying yes or no in the end, which was obviously the big conversation, Rafinha being another one as well, you know, whatever's happened.
You must be sick of the sight of Barcelona.
To be honest, I kind of am, but I'm also not, because we all know they're going to get found out for whatever's happened here. You know, they've basically got a one-goal loan off of JP Morgan, so it's literally going to be
payday loan. Here we go.
It's literally happened. It's literally a payday loan. They've sold off some of their rights. So you know, overall, the whole thing's just a very, very, very weird scenario. But yeah, look, I think whatever happens. They can't register half their players. I don't know how they're in that position. They've offered us 3 players since then: Frenkie de Jong, Aubameyang, and I can't even remember who the other one was. But it's like
Depay.
Was it? Yeah, Depay. But I mean,
don't worry. There's always Martin
Dest,
Braithwaite there
like,
as well if you want.
I just don't get that club. But look, I think it's not been perfect. If anyone was expecting him to come in and execute it like a genius, then you're insane. But you know, it's definitely teething problems. He's seen where he's made his mistakes already, which is good, and he's looking at bringing in a sporting director to work with Thomas Tuchel. So, look, for me, whatever happens with this window, whatever happens with this season, for me, it's just a benchmark to move on from. I don't think it's going to be a horrendous season. I don't think we're going to finish mid-table or whatever, but you know, I think we'll be top 4 Europa League. I don't think we'll be a guaranteed third place finish. I think there's a lot of work to be done, and we'll just have to see how it all goes this year, really.
Yeah, you say potentially a top 4 finish, but let's talk about a bit of the aspirations for Chelsea this season, because last season, from the outside looking in, it looked as though that Chelsea were going to, like I said before, challenge for the title, be up there with Liverpool and Man City. Inside Chelsea, what do you think the aims are really for this season? Is it just a top 4 finish and maybe a cup, or are you looking for more than that?
I'd take that this year. I think, look, Chelsea are not on the level of Man City or Liverpool. I don't think anybody is. I think the way that they've got their football playing and the way that they've built those squads now, there is a lot of depth and quality. We are still in the early stages of redeveloping. Thomas Tuchel came out and said that himself. You know, he said we do have an ageing team. You know, if you look at our back line, every player was over 30. Yes, Koulibaly's a new signing. He's 31. But, you know, centre-backs are on a different ageing spectrum, I feel. And on top of that as well, I do feel that, you know, it is strength that we've added there. So, you know, I think that we've got to redevelop this squad. We've got to make some changes. We've got to figure out where we're going and going forward. But, I think, like I said, for me, I am not in that dressing room, so I can't say what the aspiration is. For me, I just want to see a top 4 challenge and then just use that as a foundation to go forward. I think that there's a lot that needs to be looked at still. I think that we've already mentioned Man City and Liverpool's strength and depth. You know, as we were speaking over on my channel, you know, you guys mentioned the strength that you guys have got now in depth and you're developing. I think there's a lot of work to be done to match those top 2 clubs before anyone can have that conversation. Everyone's a long way off, and you think about how long those managers have been in office, shall we say. You know, Pep's, what is this, his 5th year now? And then Klopp's the longest serving manager in the Premier League now, isn't he? So, you know, these guys have had time to build, rebuild, put everything in their own image. Hopefully we can see the same for Chelsea over the next couple of years and just develop and push forward and eventually try and be one of those teams that's going to challenge for a title. I think the Champions League, it didn't paint over cracks, but I think it put us in a better position than people thought we were in. So we'll just have to see what happens, really.
Yeah, you signed this season Sterling, Cucurella, Koulibaly, so money's been spent from Chelsea this summer. It's not like you've not got anyone in, and with that, I know you've let go of Lukaku, but with the money you've spent, do you reckon the hierarchy might be expecting a little more from Tuchel and Chelsea this season, or do you reckon their expectations are, you know, just get through this season with Champions League football?
Look, I think we would be expecting even more if the signings that they wanted had gone through. We've still got obviously time in this window. There could be players still coming in, Wesley Fofana being another one. I'd personally, there's obviously all this talk of Frenkie de Jong potentially to Chelsea. I don't want him personally. I think he's a great player. I think he offers a lot. Does he fit in what we need right now? No, it just feels very opportunistic. It doesn't feel like we're going to sign him to improve. It just feels like, shit, Frenkie de Jong's available, right, let's go get him.
That's how all your signings feel like this season, though.
I mean, I think it's because I think
you could say the same with Cucurella, you could say.
Targets. Look, I think it's because I think Cucurella's been on Chelsea's radar for a long time, and the fact that he's become more available this summer because City fell through, it made sense to make the signing, especially with Marcos Alonso going out the door. It offers that strength we have as another option down the entirety of that left-hand side, including left centre-back and further up the pitch, when Ben Chilwell still isn't quite, back to a full strength. It gives you that competition down that side. So I think that's a very good signing. Koulibaly, my God, I mean, that has been a transfer saga for years. So the fact that he's now actually in a Chelsea shirt and is an option to have there, especially when we had centre backs going out in Rudiger and Christensen, sound. I'm happy with that. It's cool. I think that's a good signing. And then Sterling, I mean, it was a strange one, I think, but it's done now. It's a very good player to have within the squad. Proven track record in the Premier League, proven track record internationally. Look, I think they're all very, very, very capable quality signings. So they might seem and look a bit opportunistic, but there does seem to be a method to the madness with Todd Bowley.
Like from the outside looking in as a Chelsea fan, how do you assess maybe Spurs are doing under Antonio Conte? How do you assess the transfer window Spurs are going in? And also, do you think, because a lot of people are putting Spurs and Arsenal in their predictions above Chelsea this season, do you think that Spurs and Arsenal have leapfrogged Chelsea?
I wouldn't say they're leapfrogged. I think where it's maybe an equal playing field now. I think you guys will both finish above us. I think it will be Spurs and Arsenal. I think we'll finish fifth. Not out of us being rubbish, just out of us maybe not taking as many chances, not being as lethal up front as the other two sides, which is definitely going to be a problem for us this year by the looks of things. It's only been one game, don't get me wrong, I'm not going, oh no, after one game we're in trouble. I'm looking at it going, I've not seen much difference between the back end of last year and this season in terms of the quality and in terms of our finishing. So, it might just be a case of a little bit longer to click, but irrespective, I think the way that Spurs have built up, the big conversation the three of us have had every time we spoke about Conte was, if you don't back him, it's going to go wrong. If you don't back him, it's going to go wrong. And then you've got this 150 million influx of cash before the transfer window, which was going to be used on transfers purely because now the stadium's on longer loans. So the fact that you've basically taken that money, invested in what he wants, Paratici's obviously gone out and created this ethos within the club as well as a sporting director. Conte's then obviously had an impact on that conversation. Spurs are looking like a very, very good side, and I think the players that you have up front, I think Man City, potentially Liverpool would depend on how Darwin Núñez does, but you definitely have the third best attack in the league. Arsenal, we'll have to see. Obviously, everyone's creaming themselves over Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli and all of that because all or nothing's out at the minute and whatever. I don't care, but they've got a good front line as well. So it's just a case of seeing how you guys utilise that. Like I said, it's only been one game. I think obviously you see an impact from last season, but it is a fresh start for everybody. That's why everyone starts on 0 points. And that's a very Michael Owen comment, but it's
to win games, you've got to score goals.
No, exactly.
Goals change games.
But it's a fresh start, and if you guys carry on with the form that you had in that 4-1 win, and you carry on playing well, and having this fluidity, which you could see it. You could really see the Chelsea. I could watch the way that you guys played in that game, and I could see the league-winning Chelsea formula in that Spurs team. Not saying you're going to go on and win a league before we get there, but you do have that formula and that blueprint and that ethos, and it's a big deal. Is
this the first time, is in recent history, do you feel Spurs are going into the season in a stronger position than Chelsea? Do you ever remember a time that being the case? Well, and you do believe that is the case?
I think there's been maybe the season you finished second. I thought
when you won the league. You won the league that year.
Yeah. I thought maybe that no. What am I talking about? Season before when you finished third in the 2 horse race. Sorry, yeah. When you came third when you should have finished second. But I think that's the only time where I've been. Oh, okay, this is maybe a good Spurs side.
But you had just won the league before the season before that, so I don't think you would have.
Who knew at that point we were going to go on after finishing 10th under Conte and then go and switch?
That's my point. Is this the first time, before the season, you're looking forget what happened in the season, like pre-season expectations, like Spurs are actually in a stronger position than Chelsea. Like, when has that ever happened?
I think, like I said, it's an equal playing field. I think I don't know. That's not me saying I don't want to say it, because you know full well I'm not particularly tribal other than on a match day.
I kind of feel like you don't want to say it.
No, genuinely, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like it's an equal playing field. I think because the quality that we had beforehand, and obviously we've lost two or three key players, but then we replaced them with good quality. And obviously, I feel just the manager we got, and players that there's players in that squad won bloody Champions League. It's not that I think you guys are definitely leagues above us. I think it's equal, which is why I'm saying, look, I think that Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal group, almost mini league for third, fourth, fifth, it's pretty interchangeable, but it just all depends on how people react in the league. Who knows? Like, you could lose key players and not be able to perform as well, and who knows? But I think you guys looking in right now, and in terms of that first game as well, how you performed, you're definitely in a stronger position now. So you're scoring goals, you're playing good football, you're being efficient, which is something that we're not at the minute.
And you know what Conte can do.
And I know exactly. It's whether or not that Conteism will defeat Spursiness. That's the conversation which you've got to see this year. And whether it's this year or next year, as long as he's kept happy and Spurs are delivering, you could see it. But then at the same time, we have to also remember, the back end of last season, you guys weren't in the Conference League. You got knocked out early on, so you didn't have that to worry about. So now you've got European football as well and different things. There's lots of variables.
A massive squad as well.
And now we have depth.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of variables which you've got to balance. It's going to be very interesting to see how Spurs deal with all of these competitions this year. And again, I'm not saying you can't, but I think this is the first time you've actually had quality depth and a decent squad with a decent manager to get yourself into those positions, which is it's again interesting to see how it's going to all be dealt with.
Yeah, it definitely builds up to an interesting game this weekend, because Spurs don't have a good record at Stamford Bridge. One win in the last however many years, when Ericsson and Dele Alli put that, was it 3-1 on the day?
Under Conte.
Under Conte, funnily enough. Both teams have won their first game of the season. Chelsea didn't really play that well, but got the job done at the end with a Jorginho penalty. Spurs completely threw Southampton aside. How do you assess the game coming into it, and do you have a bit of confidence about you coming into it?
I think when Chelsea play Spurs, we always dip up again. I think we have, especially after that first home defeat in 22 years, I think we finally went, right, okay, we've got to start focusing on getting the job done. There's always a sense of pride attached to it. The goodness and curse, I'm kind of think maybe, because we hadn't won for 5 years there before we went to play this year. I think that we're going to have to take something from that as a potential where it's going to be, okay, maybe it's something alleviated off our shoulders and we're just going to go for the game now and go for the jugular. We'll have to see. Like I said, it's the second game of the season. I don't know is my honest answer. I think there's a sense of pride. It's a derby. It's a big game. Everyone wants it. We've just got to see who turns up and pushes better on the day. I think a lot of people are probably putting you ahead purely because of how well you're playing, and I think you've like so we said, one of the best front lines in the league.
But can you picture a game at Stamford Bridge, where Spurs come to Stamford Bridge, where the average punter does put Spurs ahead? Because I can't remember one ever.
Not since. I think this might be one of the first times people might be putting you more in a boxing. I think, but again, it's like I'm saying, it's not that mini league. Some people will be putting us ahead, some people will be putting you ahead, some people will be predicting a draw. There's so much leeway in this conversation and so many different ways it can go. Like we were saying earlier, football is very subjective. I know there's going to be someone right now when I'm saying I think Spurs might do us here, or I think you guys are in a better position. There's going to be someone screaming at their computer, hitting the keyboard, going, "What a knob!" But he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Proper Chelsea.
Yeah, mate. I said, what was it? I said I thought Arsenal played quite well against Palace, and someone, I can't believe you're praising Arsenal. Right? I'm watching the football. I don't need to watch everything as a Chelsea fan. I can just appreciate the team's playing well, and I appreciate how well you guys are playing. And I think the fact that I'm doing that, I'm going, okay, it's a good side here. More people need to do that, because if you write people off, you're the ones that are going to look stupid if you get beaten.
If you look at both 11s, where do you look at Tottenham's 11? You're like, all right, I'm worried like for the game. And where do you look at what 11 and think, you know what, Chelsea can get an advantage here if we play it right? I
think if we play it right with the fluidity that we have, we can definitely get your back line. I think it's a good back line. Don't think it's as strong as ours. And I think that if we play it right, we can definitely get through there. I mean, is it going to be a 3-4-3? Like, who's your most likely?
Yeah, 3-4-3.
So, who's your midfield pairing?
Bentancur and Højbjerg.
Oh, I think we can win that battle. Depending on who. If it's Kovacic, Kante, I think that's a battle which we'll win. I think Højbjerg's good, but I don't think he's top draw. Bentancur, like I was saying earlier, he seems to be a player which if you don't watch regularly, you don't appreciate as much. But I think we can win that battle potentially. And the win backs. Again, it goes back to the same point. This game it's so on a knife edge, it could go either way. But it's all about who turns up and who does the business, who wants it more, I think. And I think that, you know, if dependent on our front line, if you're looking at, it's probably going to be Mount, Havertz, Sterling. I think Eric Dyer, he might be playing better again under Conte. He's still very easy to get at. You know, I still think he turns like a bus. I still think he is a bit of a meathead defensively in certain moments, and he can like, his mind just goes sometimes. So whether or not he's I think the weakest.
He doesn't know Conte, Eric Dyer. He has no clue.
I think this is what I mean.
Tell me you haven't watched Eric Dyer under Conte without telling me you haven't watched Eric Dyer under Conte.
No, but you know, who knows?
Højbjerg as well, to be fair.
Yeah, Højbjerg
as well, because Højbjerg has been absolutely so consistent and brilliant under Conte. He really has.
Well, this is the beauty of Conte. He can turn average players into world beaters.
Yeah.
He turned Victor Moses into the best right wing back in the world at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, Marcos Alonso looked good under him. So it's. Who knows? But I think, you know, the battle is going to be the wing backs in the midfield. I think it's again a very, very standard football thing. If you win that battle in midfield, the game changes completely. So,
do you think there's a bit of a psychological edge on this game? Because obviously you battered us every time you played us last season. We didn't get a goal against you. Three games in the space of a month, you completely tore us to shreds. Do you think there's a bit of a psychological battle here?
Oh yeah.
Or do you have the edge psychologically? Do you reckon?
I don't think we'll be looking at those 3 months, because that was when Conte first came and you guys were god awful. You know, I think obviously Nuno as well, we played you off the park. So I think he's definitely going to be looking at going, right, last season.
That first half actually, Nuno was probably one of his best performances.
Well, yeah, we still played you off the park. We still battered you by the end. And I think, you know, the way that Conte is going to be looking at this, he's going to be going, right, this can set a statement. This can be setting a precedent. And he can do that. So I think there is definitely going to be a psychological battle to this, especially considering how we played at Goodison. I think Tuchel's will be looking at this going, right, we need to turn this lot over again, and we need to set a precedent, almost like normal service resumes, shall we say. And then Conte can be looking at it going, right, 3 times in the month.
Not again.
Not again.
You know Conte will be looking back at that month and being like, we have to turn these lot over.
Conte is like a vicious, bitter ex.
Yeah.
He really is. No, whenever he is
Isn't he
like
still
a vicious ex.
Isn't he still suing Chelsea? Or is that not happening anymore?
He can't do it anymore because he got a new job.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Because there was something about his sacking that he sued Chelsea over, didn't he?
Yeah, and then they tweeted around and said, well, you went and got a job at Inter, and then he's gone, oh yeah, fair enough.
What was it? Do you know what it was about?
I think it was all the politics surrounding it, because they were trying to hire Sarri at the same time, and I think it was something to do with payout. I don't know exactly. I'm not going to be a fountain of
tapping up
knowledge
Sarri while you've got Conte as manager.
Well, no, because he was already going to be on his way out, and then we just took way too long to bring in Sarri. So, you know. But that didn't end well either, so thumbs up to that. That's gone well, but we got Tuchel now, so you know that's what matters to me.
Look, let's get down to the nitty gritty now. Let's do predictions. Let's start off with
you. Know what my answer is every single time. I'm not giving you a prediction.
You have to give a prediction. We're here to predict.
My fucking flat, mate. I can do what I want.
Oh, channel,
mate. Give us a prediction.
Get off that fence.
No, I like my fence. I like
You're
my
going to get
fence.
splinters up your ass. Come on.
What if I like splinters? You know, what if we, you know, it's a pain.
Who likes splinters?
It's
Come
no
on.
one likes
sometimes
splinters.
sometimes
They're a
you have
bitch.
to go through the pain to get the reward. Okay, so I'll sit on my fence and I'll go. Let's just see what happens.
And then the score prediction.
I'm not doing a score prediction. I'd like to say hopefully Chelsea win because you know that's what history says. But we'll have to see.
By what score?
I'm not doing a score prediction. You know me for nearly half a
You reckon we'll
decade.
score?
I don't do score predictions. It's not my thing. I never will. Never. I can't do it because of myself. Because it's like it's a ritual. If I do a score prediction, it always goes tits up. So I'm not going to do a score prediction.
Well, seeing as you're not doing one, I don't think we should do one. I think we'll keep it at that. But Louis, big up. Thanks for coming on the channel once again.
Good to see you, boys.
Good to see
Good to see you, Lou, bro.
It's good to see you. Nice to see you with Jewish John Lennon and Ben as well.
And yeah, obviously, Combined 11 will be out very soon as well. So check out for that. Thank you, Louis, for joining us. We'll be back very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.